You say a few words to your dog, and there it is. One ear drops, the eyes lock onto yours, and they freeze in place, focused entirely on your voice. This posture was historically categorized as a simple social habit or a physical reflex, the canine version of a shrug, perhaps performed to acknowledge a sound or react to a person's tone. But in that exact fraction of a second, your dog's brain is running at full capacity. They are working much harder than their calm expression suggests to process your voice. That head tilt sits right at the intersection of three distinct tasks happening all at once. Your dog is actively trying to hear you, see you, and decode the specific meaning of the words you just used. Breaking down those three layers reveals the sheer amount of sensory and mental machinery your dog engages to make sense of a single, split-second interaction. The first mechanical layer involves their hearing. Dogs operate in an incredibly rich acoustic environment, picking up distant sounds and frequencies we cannot even perceive. While human ears are fixed flat to the sides of our heads, a dog relies on around 18 separate muscles to control each ear flap. They can swivel, perk, and rotate those flaps almost entirely independently, operating like two highly sensitive satellite dishes scanning a room. This biological hardware allows them to locate the exact origin of a sound to within about 1 degree of accuracy. When a noise reaches one ear just a tiny fraction of a second before the other, the dog's brain calculates that microscopic gap in timing to pinpoint where the sound came from. This chart of an incoming sound wave shows exactly how the motion works. By cocking their head, a dog actively shifts the angle of both ear flaps relative to you. They are altering the precise moment the sound wave hits each side. That slight delay gives their brain a sharper comparison of the two signals. The tilt is a physical adjustment to their acoustic radar, fine-tuning their directional hearing to pull as much clarity out of your voice as possible. Exceptional hearing, however, does not entirely explain the gesture. The tilt also solves a very specific visual problem. Look at a dog's anatomy from their own perspective. That long snout sits directly in their line of sight. It creates a blind spot right over the lower half of human faces, where we display our emotional cues. When they tilt their head, the muzzle leans out of the way, allowing them to read your expression while you speak. Psychologist Stanley Coren tested this mechanical workaround by observing hundreds of dogs. He divided them into two groups, those with long snouts and flat-faced breeds whose shorter noses barely block their vision at all. This chart compares the head-tilting habits of those two groups. 71% of owners with long-snouted dogs, like collies, reported frequent tilting. For the flat-faced breeds, like pugs, that frequency dropped to 52%. The physical shape of the animal clearly changes how often they perform the action. If a dog has a longer nose obstructing their view, they are highly motivated to peer around their own anatomy to read your face. But the data on flat-faced dogs leaves us with an anomaly. Even without a snout blocking their vision, more than half of those dogs still tilt their heads. Vision and hearing alone do not account for the entire behavior. Researchers at Hungary's Eötvös Loránd University bypassed typical family pets to look at this missing mental layer. They studied a target group of animals known as gifted word learners, dogs capable of learning and comprehending hundreds of specific vocabulary words. The team recorded these animals as their owners asked them to fetch specific, scattered toys by their exact names. This data visualization shows a massive gap in the results. When asked to identify a toy, the gifted word learners tilted their heads 43% of the time. The typical dogs, who lacked that extensive vocabulary, tilted only 2% of the time. The researchers documented one more crucial detail. Every single gifted dog had a locked-in preference to tilt in just one direction. They would reliably tilt left or reliably tilt right, and they maintained that specific side regardless of where the owner's voice was coming from in the room. That consistency points to asymmetrical brain processing. Just as humans lean on specific hemispheres to decode language, the head tilt is the outward physical sign of a dog conducting an inward mental search to decode a word's meaning. Hearing, seeing, and thinking are all seamlessly folded into one concentrated gesture. Your dog is adjusting their ears to catch the sound, shifting their gaze to read your mood, and engaging their memory to parse your vocabulary. Beyond the biology, there is a social layer to this interaction. When your dog tilts their head, You likely respond with a smile or a softer voice, and dogs are exceptionally skilled at noticing which behaviors earn them that warmth from you. Over time, the tilt becomes a literal bridge between species. It is a gesture that draws us closer, reinforced every time we offer praise or a scratch behind the ears in return for their attention. There is an important medical distinction to keep in mind. A sudden, persistent tilt that happens without any trigger, particularly if it is accompanied by stumbling or a loss of balance, can indicate an inner ear infection or a vestibular issue that requires a veterinarian. When the behavior is a healthy response to your voice, it is an invitation to engage. Speak clearly to them. Name their toys. Narrate your routine. The next time your dog cocks their head at you, remember the sheer amount of processing happening behind their eyes. You are watching a brilliant, attentive mind leaning in to understand you. The kindest response is simply to lean right back,